got a body built for sin and an appetite for passion. Hello, welcome to Music and Stuff with me, Rob Lewis, and thank Kiss, it's Friday, and this week I've been reviewing the 16th Kiss studio album, Revenge. It was released on the 19th of May 1992 and was certified gold, and it came out around the same time that I was getting into Kiss. The lineup was Paul Stanley on vocals and guitar, Gene Simmons on vocals and bass, Bruce Kulick on lead guitar and backing vocals, and Eric Singer on drums and backing vocals, with also a couple of appearances from the late Eric Carr. And the album was produced by Bob Ezrin. Other musicians involved, believe it or not, were actually Tommy Thayer, who now plays with Kiss, on backing vocals, Dick Wagner, who played the solo on Every Time I Look at You, and Kevin Valentine, who played drums on Take It Off. And yeah, as I say, it was released in May 1992, and that was around the time that I discovered Kiss. And I think it was one of the first albums I ever owned. I think the first album I ever bought with my own money was Vic Reeves' I Will Cure You, but this may have been second or third. I've got a fly dying somewhere up there. Yeah, I bought it on cassette. Somewhere I've still got it. No idea where, but somewhere I've still got it. But since then I've bought it on CD, obviously, and yeah, let's talk about it. So here we go. Oh, hang on. He wants a word. Thanks for watching this video. I really hope you're enjoying it. If you are, maybe you could just help out a small channel by pressing the like button, sharing it to your friends, hit the subscribe button and the alarm notification bell so you can keep up to date with my new videos, and just generally just watching them. It all helps. I'm just a small creator, just trying to find my way in this YouTube metropolis. If you really want to help out as well, there's a link to my Patreon in the description and in my About section. So again, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you. So, kicking off the album, track 1, Unholy. And correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe Unholy or Revenge is the only Kiss album, Kiss studio album, that starts with a Gene Simmons vocal song. I'm pretty sure, I can't think of another one, I'm pretty sure Revenge is the only one, and Unholy is that song, and it's a banger. I want to make a little note here that Vinnie Vincent, who had previously been in the band Kiss, who took over from Ace Frehley on guitar and was kind of not sacked, but didn't have his contract renewed, I believe is the official story, kind of made up with the band, albeit temporary, and co-wrote almost every song on this album, I'm pretty sure, or certainly a big chunk of this album was co-written by Vinnie Vincent, just like the album Lick It Up. And yeah, this Unholy, great song. They really did well to get that kind of metal, raw metal sound on this album, largely due to Bob Ezrin, of course. But Unholy, yeah, the video was shot in that kind of, I'm going to pretend I know what I'm talking about. Is it like 35mm? Is that right? What am I doing with my hands? What's that all about? I don't know what I'm talking about. But it was shot really kind of different. almost like strobic. That, what are you talking about, Lewis? Anyway, check out the video. It's really good, and it was their Leather album, I think it's fair to say. They put the 80s image away, and this was their leather-clad metal era. But yeah, Unholy, absolute banging track. Great opener to an album, and I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. Then we get to track 2, Take It Off. Now apparently Kevin Valentine played drums on Take It Off, and I didn't know that until recently. I assumed it was Eric Singer, so I don't know exactly why this Kevin Valentine did. Maybe it was before they'd recruited Eric Singer, I don't know. But yeah, that's it. And it was sung by Paul about going to a strip club. I really like the middle 8 in this song. Take it off, pretty baby, take it off, let me crazy, I wanna see what you got. Yeah, really, really good middle 8. I'm starting to wonder if I should have given this a higher score. It's fine. And when they did it live on the Revenge tour, you might remember from the Kiss Confidential VHS and DVD, they had strippers on stage with them. Not many bands could get away with that, but Kiss could. I'm going to give Take It Off an 8 out of 10. Track 3. I used to think this was kind of filler, but I really like it now, having listened to the album recently a few times. Another Paul Stanley track, Tough Love. Banger. Really, really strong track, yeah. Tough love. Talking about tough love. I'm going to give Tough Love an 8 out of 10. Track 4. I think I'm going to revise this one. I'm going to be more generous with this one. You can't really see one. It doesn't matter anyway. I'm going to change the score for this one. Track 4, Spit. Which I guess was supposed to be shit, but as in the title, but probably due to censorship and stuff, they opted for the word spit. Got no manners and I'm not too clean, but really fun song. I really love Bruce Kulick's Star Spangled Banner solo in the middle of it. It's a song about screwing large ladies, basically. The bigger the cushion, the better the pushing. It's a fun song, really, really cracking sound to it. I had it. It was not. It was mostly sung by Gene. My camera's clicking again. Mostly sung by Gene, with some bits by Paul, like the bridge was sung by Paul. So is it a duet? Does it count? I've got it down as a Gene and Paul song, and it's brilliant. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I love it. I love Spit. Track 5, God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too. Now this song is the reason I'm here. This song is the reason I discovered guitar music. I watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure in 1991, something like that, and absolutely loved the movie. Watched it over and over and over again, and then I heard there was a sequel coming out and I was all over that. I was obsessed, absolutely obsessed with Bill and Ted, and Keanu Reeves particularly. And the soundtrack, obviously Kiss did the God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too song, and it changed me It really did. I went on a journey, musical journey. I got the soundtrack, played it to death, wore the cassette out, and got into bands like Megadeth and Faith No More, who also appeared on the album. But the one that really stood out was Kiss, and this is where I began my Kiss journey. My older brother had a couple of Kiss CDs that he let me listen to. But yeah, the song, it's not hyperbole to say the song changed my life. I wanted to pick up a guitar and play because of that song. Still can't play it. Still can't play this song. It's credited as Paul Stanley and Russ Ballard, composers, because it was a cover or based on another song. They'd changed it quite a bit, but originally by Argent. But yeah, it's no exaggeration to say that the song changed my life. And really sad about Eric Carr, because he was unable to play drums for it. I understand Eric Singer played the drums on the track. Eric Carr was basically dying of cancer at the time, and he did sing backing vocals. Eric Carr did on the song, so you hear the backing vocals there. Much of that is due to Eric Carr, and he was in the video, the music video. He had to wear a wig because he'd lost all of his hair, obviously because of the treatment. So that's kind of the last thing we saw of Eric Carr, was in the video for this song. Very sad. But I'm going to give the song, it's a Gene and Paul duet as well. They sort of took it in turns to do a line. But I'm going to give God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too 10 out of 10. Absolutely. It's my list, I can do what I want. And like I said, it changed my life. Absolutely, there's no get around that, it really did. We get to track 6, Domino, Gene Simmons song. I love the song. My only critique is that in recent years the subject matter has become a bit more taboo than it was in the 90s, when he's talking about a young girl who's not old enough to vote. I don't know what the legal age to vote is in America, but here it's 18, so it's a bit different. But the guy back then was in his 40s. I guess maybe that's not as bad, but it's still a bit. It's not like Christine 16. It's not quite like that, and he's meeting her after school. So I'm not going to deduct any points from it, but it's a really great song. The intro, and yeah, it's good fun to play as well. I haven't played it for some time. I did a Kiss night during lockdown, and I played it then. It's good fun. I'd have to try and remember it again. But I'm going to give Domino an 8 out of 10. And just looking at this list, I'm going to pause for a second because I am going to adjust some of my points here, because looking at it, I've not been generous enough. So I'm just going to pause here.
A few moments later.
There you go. As I said, I had this on cassette, so now is when I would switch over to side 2. And track 7, Heart of Chrome, a Paul Stanley song. And that's Tough Love. Great song, great vocals. Like I said, Paul Stanley song. And I might forget later on, so I'm going to mention it now. No, I'll talk about it later on. Sorry, I'll come back to that. Heart of Chrome, it's grown on me over the years. I like it more than I used to. I sometimes used to skip past it to get to the next one, but not anymore. I just listen to the album now. Heart of Chrome, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Thou Shalt Not, track 8, sung by Gene Simmons. It's good. Thou shalt not, but I know what I want. Thou shalt not. Thou shalt not. Thou shalt not. Obviously taken from the Old Testament of the Bible. Yeah, basically song about someone telling Gene to, stop doing what he's doing, and Gene's basically like, fuck you. Great song, nice bit of fun there. I'm going to give Thou Shalt Not an 8 out of 10. Very high scoring album so far. Like I said, we've even had a 10 out of 10. Then we got to track number 9, Every Time I Look at You, sung by Paul Stanley. I love it. It fast became, at the time, my favourite song. I absolutely loved Every Time I Look at You. Such a good ballad, and I was only really discovering music, so it's not my favourite song now, but at the time I thought it was so different, and it was like, shit, this is something else with the strings and everything. I didn't realise until recently that Dick Wagner played the guitar solo for it. I assumed it was Bruce Kulick that played Every Time I Look at You, acoustic ballad. Sorry, it's doing these videos with this light on, makes me yawn. It's weird. Yeah, sung by Paul. It's a happy song, but it's a very emotional song. But I love it. I'm going to give Every Time I Look at You a 10 out of 10. I really am. And I remember when they did it on the MTV Unplugged album, and it was so good. Yeah, it's just an absolute banging Kiss song. And I know not every Kiss fan goes for that stuff. I get it. A lot of Kiss fans are into the more heavier stuff. But that's me. I mean, as well as being a Kiss fan, I'm also into Oasis and the Carpenters and country music. Brad Paisley and Miranda Lambert, Alison Krauss. So I've got a very wide range of music tastes. So I don't really buy in for the too heavy stuff. But yeah, it's a classic ballad. Track 10, Paralysed, sung by Gene Simmons. For me personally, it's the weakest song on the album, but it's not like by a long shot. It's only slightly. It's a great song. Just doesn't quite have the same panache as everything else does, to me. I know there are other people out there that say it's the best song on the album, and that's great. We're allowed to disagree, because if we didn't, we'd all be listening to Sweet Caroline. Paralysed, I'm going to give Paralysed a 7 out of 10. As I said, I think it's the weakest. It's going to be a very high scoring album. Track 11, Paul Stanley song, I Just Wanna. Now I know a lot of people can't stand this song. For me, I think it's great. It's fun, it's catchy, and as a kid, I mean, I bought this out in 92. I would have been 12 or 13. I loved the whole swearing but not swearing thing. I just want a fur. I just want a fur. It was cool because it was like I was swearing but I wasn't, so I could get away with it as a kid. I really, really like the breakdown, the middle 8. Wake up, baby, don't you sleep. And in fact, that's something that I wanted to talk about. God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too had that as well. This album had a lot of these sort of breakdown bits that kind of made you stop and think about the song, and yeah, that was one of them. Kind of nursery rhyme type thing. So I'm going to give that an 8 out of 10. And then we get to track number 12, the final song on the album, Car Jam. Or Car Jam 81, I think, as it was called. Now this featured Eric Carr, the late Eric Carr, on the drums. It was from a recording session in 1981. It was actually a song written by Ace Frehley and Eric Carr. That Ace Frehley went on to record with Frehley's Comet, the first album he released after leaving Kiss. It was called Breakout, and the singer of Frehley's Comet, Richie Valentine? I've got to look this up. Because I don't want to get it wrong. Frehley's Comet. Let's see what it says. Richie Scarlett. Sorry. Yeah, Richie Scarlett added lyrics to it, but the instrumental was written by Eric Carr and Ace Frehley, and for this album they took out Ace's riffs and added it, and Bruce Kulick overlaid them, his own ones. So I love Bruce Kulick. He's one of my favourite members of Kiss. I'm a little bit torn on that. I get it. It was a rights thing. I suppose they didn't want to pay Ace any royalties for his mechanical royalties. I get that. I do understand. I think I can kind of let it go because Bruce and Ace are good friends. Great riff, and it starts off with this riff and a bit of lead, and then it goes to this awesome drum solo. Not everyone's into drum solos, but this particular one, my God, I tried to play it. I tried to emulate it as I got older. I'm not even a drummer. I just play some drums. As you can see, I've got a kit there. I just play some drums, but I'm not a drummer. But I desperately wanted to play this drum solo. I mean, isn't that weird? I wasn't a drummer. I didn't want to learn a money beat. I didn't want to learn something, a nice simple 4/4 shuffle, or sorry, not a 4, just a 4/4 beat or a shuffle or something. But I wanted to learn this amazing drum solo by one of the best drummers in the world. Yeah, that was Car Jam 81. Give that an 8 out of 10. So this is a very high scoring album. And I want to mention again, Paul Stanley gets a lot of shit for his voice now. This period in the 90s, Paul Stanley's voice was phenomenal. One of the best rock voices out there. I mean, no question. How he was in the 90s, I think his voice was at its peak. I really do. It's a shame he killed it. And I don't think he killed it by singing, I think he killed it by shouting. The shouting in between songs live. Such a shame. Because you listen to the vocals on this album from Paul, from all of the band actually. So good. The harmonies, Gene's vocals, Paul's, the harmony vocals, absolute. I think from a vocal point of view, Revenge is their strongest album. I don't think they did any album with the vocals were as good as they are on Revenge. I like the artwork with the sort of industrial kind of feel to it. I liked their look at the time, very sort of metal. I was kind of rebellious. I'm a metalhead, at the time. It didn't last. The Kiss fandom did, but being a metalhead didn't last. Bob Ezrin, great producer, and I'm going to be doing a video at some point talking about the Kiss producers. Actually, I've already started work on that, so stick around for that. Make sure you do subscribe, as the man said earlier, and comment and like. Let me know what you think of this album in the comments. What else was I going to say? Yeah, the album really did change my life, particularly God Gave Rock Variety to. I cannot understate that enough. I cannot state that enough. You know what I mean. It was just phenomenal. It really came along at the right time in my life where I was very impressionable and absolutely fell in love with Kiss. To this day, I remember my brother saying, because I think he kind of got into Kiss a bit, but kind of grown out of them a bit. He said, "Oh, I know you like Kiss, but you'll grow out of them." I mean, that was over 30 years ago. I still love them. Still think they are the best rock band, or my favourite rock band, I should say, because it's subjective. So totaling up the points actually comes to 8.5 out of 10, which I thought it'd be more. That's weird. That's purely done on mathematical reasons. But yeah, Revenge 8 out of 10. I have a lot of nostalgia feels with this album as well, for the reasons that I've told you. Bruce Kulick's guitar, on fire. Some of his best work ever. Some of the best guitar work in Kiss ever, it has to be said. He does that solo in Thou Shalt Not, the do 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 do. What's that from? Is it the Fantasia thing? Do do. Plays that on the solo for Thou Shalt Not. Eric Singer's drumming, all the backing vocals, like I said, the lead vocals. It's just a superb album. I don't know how it only got 8.5 out of 10. I think if I was doing it just like rank the album out of 10, I'd probably say 9, 9.5. But yeah, that's the way the maths roll. Maths with an S. But that's it. The next one on the list is another Bob Ezrin produced Kiss album. It's just funny how it's fallen that way. Music from The Elder. And then I would have done all the Bob Ezrin ones then, I think. Weird, isn't it? But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Catch you later, Bill and Ted. What it is I need is like a 20-second clip that I can put at the end of each video. You know how other YouTubers do it, whether I have at the end of a video like 4 things on the screen, it's, you know, like and subscribe, that kind of stuff. I just need something like that, but I don't know what to put.